Are you like a lettuce in the morning guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's kind of nothing like it.
That's tender, isn't it? So we run everything on 30-inch systems,
Okay.
which just means that's how wide our beds are. We harvest everything by hand, even if it's just with a little hand harvester. I call it a human scaled system, which means that I don't need a tractor to straddle this bed. I need a human to be able to straddle the bed. Like, you are the piece of equipment on a small farm like this. So I am very low-till, no-till out of necessity, almost. I can come through with a tiller and I can just pulverize everything, you know? Which people are saying, and certainly is true, is disrupting your soil life, your microbial life, which delivers nutrients to your plants, as well as makes your soil so loose that it's susceptible to runoff. Or one of the methods that small farmers use are these silage tarps. On that front, I can use this for 10, 20 years. So if I put this tarp over it, in the summer it takes only about 2 weeks, maybe in the fall, the spring, or the winter about 6 or 8 weeks. And now I've got like nice stuff to stick seeds straight into. And I didn't come through with a tiller and have to mash all that up. My leading influence is a guy named Jean-Martin Fortier. I hope I said that right. He's a French-Canadian guy. He wrote a book called The Market Gardener back in 2004, which is truly what I am. You know, I used to be a teacher. I was sitting there on my lunch break. What do I need to grow to make a living on, you know, an acre or whatever? And a couple of these pioneer market gardeners like Jean-Martin Fortier started popping up, so I started buying a couple of books, and I was like, oh, okay, there's this method, and I ended up not even using an acre. I do 1/3 of an acre. I was a high school teacher, and I'm not like a down with the system guy. Like, I'm not really like that. I believe in society, you know. But I found myself in the classroom. What a teacher was kind of became a lot of time on the computer. So I kind of felt myself doing a lot more computer paperwork than I did I felt like I was doing that more than I was doing what I signed up to do. And so I think this fit for me. I'm an active guy, I'm an athlete, love being outside, engaged in something real, you know. And you know, we've all got our concerns regarding the food system, you know, and instead of, you know, whining about it, you know, it seemed like a good fit to be a part of this solution. I had to stop being a farmer for whatever reason, and I just had to like have a little backyard garden and, you know, a couple of chickens, something like that, you know. I would always have at least one pig.
Really?
Yeah, just because I can dispose of waste. I can take all my kitchen scraps to them instead of having just a rotting pile of stuff at the edge of the woods, let alone put my kitchen scraps into the garbage. Right here, I live on property. I put it into the garbage. Now it goes to a landfill. Now it's producing methane. Right, when I can just funnel that organic material, all the stuff that's, you know, the ruined food and the banana peels, I can give it to them while also not attracting raccoons and possums and rats in my backyard just because I've got a pile of stuff, you know, sitting there. And, you know, it's just like, kind of one of those energy things. Like, they're such a, kind of a part of the calendar, you know, like, I'm gonna do the Christmas ham for our family off of one of these pigs. So these are Berkshires.
Okay.
It's an old English variety. I think I did turkeys in the past, but you know, I enjoy the pigs more. They're excited to see you, you know. A head of lettuce isn't excited to see you. Ecologically, Like if you look at this whole area here, I've got all these stick piles, but for the most part, it's a nice clean carpet. But this used to be a lot of this brush here. I think this is barberry, they call it.
Okay.
And the pigs eat this stuff. You can see where they've grazed it. This is invasive. I think it's Japanese barberry. They defoliate it so much that it just dies. So like last week they were up here. See that? There's a whole nother fence there. And then I build this fence in front of that, and then I run them from one fence to the next. And so we kind of play hopscotch, you know, around the whole wooded area of the property.
Are you prepping these areas here?
Yep, so this is just part of expansion. And this has been down for almost a year now. I'll probably leave it here for 2 years. But now that actually almost looks like something I'm ready to plant in. So that'll be like a salad field, that'll be a salad field. Then I'm planting in the spring, these will be, so I'm doing like rows of apple orchards
Oh, nice.
between each plot. Helps with windbreak. It gives the birds a bunker. And your birds are gonna help you with your pests in your gardens. Take all the trees out of the equation, 100-acre field, and you're breaking up the ecosystem. You know, you don't have a natural space where you also have food. You have a place where there's one crop and nothing else. These are all organic blueberry plants. I got these, just got these off of a guy in South Jersey. By the way, this is what a real barn looks like. Just, I mean, you gotta have a place for your crap, and it doesn't have to be pretty. Yeah, this is what does everything for me. You know, at first glance, it doesn't even look like a tractor, right? So I can put any attachment on here that I want. I just lift up this thing here, and I can switch out all my different attachments. So this is a flail mower. That's what mulches my crops before I pull the tarp over. So if I'm done with a field of kale and it's too thick, I mulch it.
Yeah.
Almost like a lawnmower for a yard, but it's just more, obviously, like way more aggressive. Mulch it, then I put the tarp over, and then it decomposes, then I'm ready. And then I might put on what, this is called it's a tiller, technically, but it has a precision depth roller on it, so I can find a certain depth on it. What I do is I till about that deep. You can hardly call it a till, I call it a sift. So it just basically just disrupts whatever the old crop was. If I had some mowed in kale that rotted, which is what I want it to do, I want to mix that at least with the top ½ inch of the soil. So I'm not going down 8 or 10 inches deep and just pulverizing the soil in a tillage method. I'm just going across the top and just making sure that that muck gets mixed into the top inch, as well as any chicken manure fertilizer. If I add compost, I don't want to really plant right into the compost that I add. And this unit back here, that's a compost spreader. I can pull that behind this machine and it spreads out my compost for me nicely. This beautiful pastoral vision right here is yet another tarp on the farm. But this is the most important thing that we buy, more important than seeds, more important than fertilizer, more important than tractors, gas, you name it. This is compost. I don't make it. I would like to one day. I buy this compost. You don't want like a leaf compost. You certainly don't want like a wood chip compost. You don't want a mulch, nothing like that. You want something that just looks black, just looks like rich earth, you know? You gotta feed, you know, they call it feeding the soil. You know, that's like the trending phrase, and that's a good way to put it, you know? Because there's microbes in there that are feasting on this type of stuff, and that keeps them alive. And the microbes are ultimately what are delivering your nutrients. There's just the house chickens. And Gunner, he's probably gonna bark at salad shed here, where we wash all the salad. We wash it and pack it. That's like 30 during the middle of the season, not in the spring. But during the middle of the season, this is 30% of the labor, easy. So you wash it. We wash it outside in these, these big, we have these stainless steel tubs there in the back. And we wash that. And then we put them, we strain it in baskets. And we take these baskets and we put them down in this washing machine here. It's a redneck rig. And it spins it. I put it on the spin cycle and it spins because they're soaking wet.
That's really smart.
And they're soaking wet. And if you've ever had wet salad greens, they're impossible to dry, right? So then we pipe that outside, spins it dry, pours all the water outside, and then we dump them on this rack here. And these are just box fans. And then we turn these fans on a low setting, and then we dry it. And as it starts to dry, we start packing it. And then we go over here on the table, and we put everything in bags. That's kind of our bagging area. Then we put it all in crates, and then we take it up to the walk-in cooler. This is that harvester I was telling you about. So this is cool. This is one of my favorite rigs. So basically, you got this blade, which could saw your leg off. It's like a surgical blade. And there's a drill here. You hook your drill right on top of that, and it spins. And as that drill spins, see it? That blade goes.
So it just sort of reciprocates back.
Yeah, it reciprocates as this sort of spins as well. It sucks the greens into a little carrying satchel. This right here, this cost me $600. There are harvesters out there that can cost you, $6,000, 600,
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, you got to get so much equipment. You're 25 years old, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And you're like, oh, maybe I'd like to try my hand at farming. You start looking into what it's going to cost, and you're looking at $150,000 to $200,000 entry. More than that if you count land, right? If you're not leasing land. That shouldn't be barring entry for young people. Cost should not be keeping people out of farming. It should be more accessible, And that's what market gardening kind of provides. That's what it provided for me. I could get in the game with just, a couple grand here, get me, some forks and some hoes and a pack of seeds and a little seeder and off to the races, as long as you got a place to do it,